I think a lot of the internet isn't real anymore. And the weird part is you can't necessarily tell what is. I mean, this all stemmed back to me being on TikTok. I scrolled on TikTok, and for a long time now, I've been kind of just getting rage baited by these comments of people saying the most absurd shit known to humankind. Like, I don't genuinely think a real person can type these kinds of things. And it got me to think that, are these people actually real? You know, with the growth of AI and everything that's been happening recently, like, what's to say that these comments that are, writing obnoxious and egregious shit on the internet aren't just bots and algorithms trying to get attention and trying to rank up their engagement? Because it's very well possible. And there's honestly a name for this. I had to do some research, but it's called the dead internet theory. So if you don't know what the dead internet theory is, the base idea is that the internet is mostly just not human anymore. So most of it is just populated with bots, AI, and automation, making things feel more like fake and amplified for engagement. And honestly, there's a lot of kind of truth behind that. And the more you dive into it, the crazier it kind of gets, and I wanted to just talk about that for today. So let me get this straight. Like, let me kind of preface this. It's not everything on the internet, right? I don't want you to think, like, get off this video and think that everything you're interacting with is an algorithm, because it's probably not. And I say probably because there was an actual article made by Vice, and I say made by Vice because I want you to take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but they showed a graph showcasing basically that AI had overtaken humans in terms of article output, which meant that genuinely at the time you had statistically more of a chance of interacting with an article written by AI than one written by a human. Genuinely let that shit sink in for a second. You had more of a chance of interacting with something that wasn't real, that, was written by just ones and zeros, than written by somebody who was a human. I mean, that's literally insane. I'm saying it so much and I'm repeating myself because I genuinely can't believe it. And who's to say that the article I read this on wasn't written by AI too? This shit got me second guessing myself at every turn. Everything I interact with nowadays is genuinely supported by the fact or the thought of that, hey, is this fucking real? Am I interacting with ChatGPT right now, or is this an actual person that made this? It's genuinely hard for me to tell. I mean, with videos too, with the rise of Vimeo or whatever. Sorry, not Vimeo. Geez, what was I saying? But those AI chat, photo, video things. Geez, I sound so old. But you know what I mean? Those kinds of things. Who's to say that some videos aren't fake as well? And I'd like to think in my mind that I could probably still sniff one out, but honestly, some of them are really good and are believable. I mean, it's kind of sketchy, to say the least, right? But diving into the dead internet theory a little bit more and its origin, because I think it's kind of interesting, is that it kind of came up at around 2021, from what I could see from different forums and stuff like that. And they all kind of claim that the shift started in 2016. And with that shift, there's two kind of camps to it. There's people who have what I call a more realistic version of the dead internet theory, and there's a kind of conspiratorial camp. So there's some people that are I find that their answers as to why this is happening is more realistic, and there's some people that's I don't know, grab some tinfoil for your head because this shit's a little far-fetched, but still not that much. But I kind of want to get into both right now. So in terms of just somewhat factual stuff, again, there's always an argument to be made, but more or less 50% of internet traffic is bots. All right. So again, that's an insane stat to kind of just pull out there. And I will put an article in the description that you can kind of read on yourself. But, just going based off of that for now, it's kind of insane to have that number kind of just pop out there. And whether this is true or not, just in general, I think we can all agree that AI content is just rapidly increasing, regardless, right? So even if you don't believe that most of what you interact with is AI, you can at least agree that AI is more prevalent now than it's ever been. So there's definitely an argument to be made that even if you don't think that 50% of what you interact with is AI, there's at least a big chunk of it that is, which is kind of crazy. So this goes on everything from articles, posts, comments, all AI assisted, right? A lot of people now, and I think I speak to a few people that are school teachers, and every single one of their students uses AI and ChatGPT, like they genuinely just can't think for themselves. Some people, I swear to God, somebody's going to be asked what their name is, and they're going to take their phone out and try to type at the ChatGPT and ask them what their name is. And I know that sounds ridiculous, and I am kind of making a joke, but I guarantee you there's at least one person in the world who is down bad like that. I can guarantee it. It's just kind of crazy. I try to limit my time and interactions with AI as much as I possibly can consciously, just because I kind of want to avoid all of that happening. All right. I don't want to create a dependency on this stuff. And it's kind of really messed up because there's also, again, proof of people having what's called, I think, AI psychosis, where just their worldviews are just being reinforced by AI. And it's kind of messed up. You know, and I think most people can probably tell what is fake and what isn't, but I think a few ways that you can tell is that there's just, everything feels the same. There's just repetition wherever you go. So like the same formats are being made, same jokes are being made. The structure of whatever you're seeing is the same structure that you saw from like the last video, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. It just, nothing feels genuine anymore. So content nowadays is genuinely made to perform and not express, right? Like back in the day, and I want to say back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, but content creators were kind of just made to express themselves. They were there to share their opinion, share their viewers, share this creation that they had made that made them feel something, and hopefully made you, the viewer, feel something when you watched it, right? And nowadays it just feels like it's there to perform well. It's not really made to make you think. It's not there to make you feel something or to connect you with a group of people. It's just there to perform well in terms of metrics, which kind of sucks, honestly. And the worst part is that these algorithms have gotten so good at kind of detecting what you like. So if you interacted with something that was made by AI and you kind of like liked it or stayed throughout the entire video or shared it or whatever, interacted with it in any way, shape, or form, those algorithms are going to flag you as somebody who likes that type of content. So it's a very real possibility that you're only seeing a very small slice of the internet, and that your specific kind of personalized slice is just AI generated, which is crazy to think about because there are separate things and sections and slices of the internet that you just don't see based on your interests. And that's also kind of insane because, you know, like I said, these algorithms have gotten so well at determining what your likes, what your interests are, that they genuinely will just kind of create a small little slice of what interests you for on the internet. TikTok, I think, was the first one to do it really well, and everybody kind of just adopted it after that. So Facebook has their own, obviously, Reels, also Instagram, but you know, owned by Facebook, so they have their Reels as well. Snapchat has a version of that as well, I think, and I say I think because I haven't used Snapchat in forever. Side note, I think if you're over the age of like 21, I think you should just get off Snapchat. Like I grew up on that shit, and even for me, I was like, I'm gonna get off of this. I think it's a little weird, but whatever. You know, that's another video topic, I guess. The kind of point I'm making here is that, you know, like I said, everything is kind of curated to keep your attention, and everything is kind of made to perform. And a side effect of that is that even when it comes to genuine people who are trying to create something, like an actual human creating something, it will still feel fake because they're just making it for an algorithm. Like, you know, I like to always kind of come back to Mr. Beast, where when you hear him talk, it feels weird because it feels like he's just having a persona on. It feels like he's curated his personality to be able to perform well algorithmically, and that's kind of insane to say out loud. But I don't think I'm the only person that has that opinion about him. Like, if I've just recently watched his episode of Hot Ones, you know, the show where they eat like spicy wings and stuff, and most of the comments are like, oh my God, this guy feels like a robot, or and again, some of it's probably just people trolling, but there's a little bit of truth to that, right? Like in most of his videos, it's a curated personality that he has made in order to try to perform well on the internet. So that's how I kind of see that, right? And he is, you know, I don't think he's a robot. I think he's honestly a person, right? I think he's a human being with, you know, skin, blood, bones, like the rest of us. I just think that he's curating his personality to appease to an algorithm. And, you know, obviously it's working. And what does that create? It creates more copycats of people online seeing what works, and then they're copying him. So, and kind of a proof of that is that when he blew up, when Mr. Beast blew up, look how many copycats resurfaced because of him, mimicking his exact thumbnails, to his cadence, to everything that was happening within his videos. So it just goes to show that content nowadays is kind of curated for performance and not so much originality or expression, which is what it used to be for. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, like more solid kind of proof and evidence as to why this is happening. I can give you a few reasons or speculations as to why I think this is happening. Number one, I genuinely just think it's cheaper for these businesses to scale with AI. And I mean, that sucks coming out of my mouth. I know it sucks. All right. I think we can all agree that it sucks, but it goes back to a few years ago when AI was really starting to get good. There were so many people losing their jobs, genuinely losing their livelihoods because they were getting replaced by AI. And the reason was because the AI never slept. It did their jobs 24/7. It never got tired. It never had to take a break. It never had to go home, never had to eat, never had to sleep, nothing, right? And you could pay it a lot less than an actual person. So unfortunately, these huge corporations, they don't really care about you. Newsflash. I mean, it sucks to say, but I've felt that myself in my most recent line of work. The people up top don't really see you as a human. They see you as a number on a spreadsheet, and it just really sucks. It hurts when you realize that, honestly, because all you want to do is kind of be seen as who you are. And I think that could go into a deeper, like, kind of psychological aspect of, who and what we think we are. But at the end of the day, you just kind of want to be treated as a human. And all these big corporations, they don't see you as a human. They see you as potential output. And they see you as a decimal point on a spreadsheet. And if they could save $1 by replacing you with AI, trust me, they will do it. And that's just the unfortunate truth. So I think, and a big reason for that is just these big corporations are scaling with AI. So it's getting a lot of people replaced in their livelihoods, unfortunately. Another one is that the algorithms nowadays, they definitely reward familiarity. Like, how many creators can you count on one hand that have actual original content that wasn't inspired by somebody, that didn't do something else? Like, it's all, like, original content is very few and far between nowadays. And I genuinely think that the algorithms, especially the ones on YouTube and TikTok, do reward that kind of familiar recipe of, like, trying to get a lot of numbers, and that's what people want to do. I know for a fact one of my buddies, he made himself a Roblox Shorts channel on YouTube, and he made it to the letter to appease to the algorithm, and he ended up making like something like $30,000 in 2 months. And everything was made with AI. Like, it's kind of crazy. They do reward these channels and these people who are using AI that just automate a bunch of stuff. Like, it's genuine brain rot. It is genuine AI slop, and the algorithm's rewarding these people, and it sucks. I don't know what you could do to stop that, but, I don't think that's my place to really put my 2 cents. I just think it's kind of really shitty. And of course, the big thing at the end of it all is that, like I said, your attention is the economy when it comes to social media, right? The reason why so many of these social medias make so much money isn't just the ads that they have running on between videos. It's your attention. Every single one of these social media platforms is engineered to keep you on them for as long as possible. All right. And this is not, kind of up for debate, because you can look anywhere and you'll find the same answers that all of them admit to it. It's true. Currency is the human attention span. Well, not attention span, but the human attention right now, right? Like, the more they can keep you on their app, the more money they're making. The more that you're on their app, the more ads they can run in front of your face. The more ads that you see, the more probability there is that you purchase something. So they make even more money. It's just kind of this really shitty cycle that happens. And unfortunately, like I said, it kind of works for the majority of the time. So yeah. So for anybody listening to this right now, I just want you to know that everything that I've just talked about is not fully proven, right? It's a theory, and it's called a theory for a reason. It's nothing that's really, there's nothing written in stone. It's all kind of just up there. But, hopefully it gets you to think a little bit on your own accord about what's going on in the world right now, and maybe just to think twice before kind of reacting to that rage baiting comment or something, and try to be a little more genuine, guys. Like, I think we've forgotten throughout the years, but there are actual people, for the most part, behind those screens, and people can be so mean and so judgmental. And I think a big way that we can fight against these algorithms is just by choosing to be a little bit nicer each and every day. And I hope, if anything, that you could take away from this video is just to try to like take a breath, step back, and just be kind to people. And try to be kind as much as you possibly can, right? But with that being said, I do want to point out that the trends that we spoke about are real. There are like automation. There is automation. There are a bunch of AI contents. There's algorithmic control throughout all of these things. Like, that's real. And that's happening right now. But yeah, so just to kind of go back towards it, like, the internet definitely isn't dead. There's definitely still people on there. It just, for me, it stopped feeling so human about a year ago. And I think that's designed to feel that way. You know, everything just feels really designed right now. There's no other way to say it. Everything just feels artificial. And even when it is real, with these people trying to hack the algorithm, you know, it still doesn't feel real. But yeah, that's just something I've been thinking about. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.